Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host for tonight's show, Rockin' Robbie Bills, and it is time for PCP Movie Night, and we are just kicking off Crew's Choice over the last couple of weeks. Tonight, it's going to be Lynk's pick, and he's picked Hero. That's right, Hero from 2002, released in the States, 2004, starring Jet Li. You got a bunch of other awesome people in there, directed by Zhang Yimou, who also shortly after this did House of Flying Daggers, which is another film I really like. But this is Lynk's pick, so let's bring him in. Lynk, what's up, man? Happy Crew's Choice. This is a great pick, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited to cover it, man. I almost went with my initial pick was something so out of left field that I just seen that was kind of cool. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with something safe, something classic. And yeah, this is like I've wanted to talk about this director for a while, so this was a cool chance to get that in.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely something worth covering on the channel. I remember when I first watched it, it was when I was going through my like Hong Kong cinema phase, and Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics, Travis's partner over at the Coffee and Comics show with Comics with Bueller, he was like giving me these recommendations, and this was one of them. And I just so happened to have this DVD. It's a really ratty DVD. I actually think this belongs to my homie Schaefer, and he let me borrow it, and it's just he's never gotten it back, so I guess it's mine now. It's been like 15-20 years, so why not?
Forgot about it.
Heck yeah. All right. Somebody who knows what I'm talking about is Jelani. How goes it, man?
It goes station. Yeah, bro. I think you still have a Becky Lynch figure of mine over there. Just
yeah,
letting you know. Yeah.
She's over there. She is no man's shadow, man. The man has come around.
That's right. The man has come around. It's yours. It doesn't matter. Like I said, your birthday present is in the trunk of my car. So eventually I'll get that to you.
Well, I hope it's not an ice cream cake or a live animal. Speaking of ice cream cakes and live animals, it's Brooks. What's up, Brooks?
What's up?
You're so enthused to be here, I can tell, man.
I always am, man. I always try to bring the most energy I can.
You know, last week your pick was This Is Spinal Tap. It got 5 ya digs across the board. We'll see if any other movie during Crew's Choice is going to get that. Not if this man has anything to say about it. It's Verno from Blood Splatter Chatter. What's up?
What up? Happy to be here. First time watch, which is, I guess, surprising to a lot of people. I went into it not even knowing that it was a foreign language movie. I had no idea what to expect, so I'm stoked to be here.
Oh, man, this is going to be a great conversation. And to round out this great conversation, it's Joe Corallo. How are you doing, Joe?
I am good. It's true. I'm happy to be here. I, of course, I'm assuming Robbie saw this in theaters when it came out here. Came out 2 years later, I believe. Like it says 2002, but I believe in theaters here it was 2004. In big part thanks to noted racist Quentin Tarantino who brought this film over. But yeah.
Heck yeah, you're right about that. All right, so I did not watch this movie when it first came out. I watched this movie a few years ago when I was going through the Bullseye Bob martial arts movie recommendations. And I was like, that. I can't believe, what's that?
I said you should have opened with that, which you did. It was a joke.
Yeah, I get it. So anyway, I was blown away when I first watched this movie. It was the cinematography. It was the colors, the sense of fantasy, but also that like sense of melancholic, tragic heroism. I really loved this movie. And also, I had never really seen any of the Hong Kong cinema of Jet Li. So to me, Jet Li was a great fighter, but not so much a great actor, right? I'm talking about, Romeo Must Die. I'm talking about Lethal Weapon 4, which might be one of his best roles because he doesn't say anything in that movie. But like, there was something about Jet Li that just never really pulled me in. But when I start watching movies like Fearless, Once Upon a Time in China, and Hero, absolutely amazing. I got to upgrade to a Blu-ray, unlike my 20-year-old copy of my friend's copy of Hero. That was a weird way to say that. I got to upgrade to Blu-ray because this movie is just so freaking beautiful. The cinematography, the art direction, the costumes, the choreography. This is what this movie is mostly known for. But I also think it's a very poignant movie that hits a lot on theme. And we're going to unpack all of this tonight. You picked this movie. Tell me what you think about it overall.
Okay, there we go. I love this movie. I saw this movie. I was 16. It was right before like Sin City came out, but those two movies had like a big impact on me in my younger years, like in terms of like visuals. And I loved the fact that it was an action movie, but it had something like this. Still one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. But you know, it was such a simple story. But it was so simple. There's some nuance to it. Like, you know, it's like very universal themes. I just love how everything was executed. And, you know, it just kind of opened my eyes as to, you know, what films could be. Like, you know, what an action movie could be, what a kung fu movie could be. I just love it. Yeah, like you said, it's almost like a fantasy book or a poem. You know, it seems very poetic. And it's a beautiful masterclass of a film. I just, you know, I still adore it. It's not my fave. I love this film, but I would say there's probably one other film I love by this director that I think is a little bit better, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, I think this is just an astounding film.
Yeah. I mean, I would 100% agree with you, man. When I first watched it, I covered it on a Rockin' Robbie Live, and I was just all over this film. I was like, why has nobody ever told me how good this movie is, right? And when Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out, it kind of started this whole like phase, right? You know, once something's successful, Hollywood wants to try to mimic that success as much as possible. So you get Hero, you get House of Flying Daggers, which is the same director, right? His follow-up film to this. You get a bunch of these kind of movies that started coming out. And even though I was in a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I never really fell into those other ones. But then when I watched them, I'm like, man, I have been missing out 100%. And this in particular, I may not pronounce this right, but it's like, what is the name of this style of film? It's
starts with a W, right? It's like
Wuxia or something like that.
Wuxia.
Yeah,
it's like
something like that.
WUXIA or something like that. I think is the spelling.
Yeah. So it's one of those kind of things. And when you look into that, like House of Flying Daggers, kind of the same, like a lot of wire work, a lot of fantastical things, not really grounded in realism, still grounded in real emotion and great choreography. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about Hero overall?
I'm the one that told you about this movie. You just didn't watch it. I saw this movie. This movie in 2002 or 2004 at the theater when it came out twice. This movie is fire. It is absolute gold. It's the characters. It's the story. The actual story behind it is amazing. The fact that they got the costumes, the wire work for the fights, it is gorgeous. This movie is like gold to me. I'm still like enamored at how well made and put together it is. The fact that it has different stories and it's not pretentious like Crouching Tiger. It is straightforward. It gets to the point, even though the stories tell different things. It's like what he said, what she said, and what the truth is kind of situation. That's what this movie is.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the colors work well with each story that's being told. And you can't tell who's telling what. And it's gorgeous, man. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have no notes for this movie.
Heck yeah, you know, I love that you mentioned the structure of the story. It's very Rashomon, right? And it's a structure that a lot of story has used. We've seen it in comics, we've seen it in novels, we've seen it in other films, right? Hell, we saw it in that Batman Gotham Knights animated movie. There's like a segment of that's kind of the same thing with like the different stories of how Batman appears to different people. Then you put together the actual story. Hell, there was a Batman the Animated Series episode. Yeah. So I really, really love that. When I first watched this movie, the way that the story unfolds, it was very compelling, man. Like it's very simple, but it's very interesting how they're telling it, and also how they're telling it visually. What about you, Brooks? Not your first time watch. What do you think about Hero?
Yeah, like I remember I watched this movie. My buddy had it on DVD. I've watched both the dubbed and the subtitled versions, but this time I watched the dubbed version. So I kind of remembered like bits and pieces of the dub, but overall it's not much of a difference as far as I can tell. Which it's been a long time. But like the thing I love about this movie and this whole kind of like little phase that Hollywood had for a while, where they were trying to do these kind of like Chinese type movies, is that I can't speak for like people in other states, but here we didn't get much history as far as like China and Asia anywhere over there. Like most of our history lessons were more European, and like so like when they came out with these movies that were like kind of giving us a little bit of that from a Chinese perspective, it's like it's fun, it's fascinating. I love the it's like a fable, the whole nature of it's like it's like being told a story, like even with the narration and all that. And so yeah, like this is one that I think, like out of the three that I remember from that era, Crouching Tiger, this movie, and House of Flying Daggers, this one might be my favorite, to be honest. Like it's hard to say, but like I think the style of it, like you're saying, is very beautiful. I like the chaining of the colors for each version of the story. Everybody's clothes changes, all that. So like, yeah, it's a really like, it's an interesting movie to watch, is I guess what the thing that I most would say about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's mesmerizing. It's transfixing. You know what I'm saying? What about you, Verno?
Whirls the spear around and the water splashes around, like the shit like that.
Yes.
All that stuff, dude. So freaking cool. When
This
they're
is
like
3D.
that whole water fight is so freaking cool. The Donnie Yen bit where he like with the raindrops and everything, it's just so freaking everything. It's just beautiful. The leaves. I mean, oh my God, it's just and here's the crazy ass thing. This thing's only like barely over an hour and a half, right? And it's truly, it truly is and feels like an epic, right? In a very short running time. Verno, I'm very curious, man. First time watch. What did you think about Hero?
Terrible. No, I was joking. I was blown away. Like I really was. I love what you just said about the runtime. Like just looking at like the cover art of it, for like the poster art for it, it looks like a 2.5 hour poster art movie. You know what I mean? You think it's going to be this grand thing, and it is, and in such a way. But it's also like everybody said, like it's super simple, but it's huge. Like I like the juxtaposition of how big the scale is of everything, how many people, how many soldiers they have, and all that, and how like absurd the fights are with like how small and simple the story is and how deep the themes are. Like the themes are crazy deep, and you can extrapolate them and go on and on about how like what it means and everything. But it's so absurd at the same time. You know what I mean? Like the fight scenes like border on the like silly at times a little bit, but in the dopest way ever. Like I think it's, I know I'm always saying it was the best ever. It was this and that, like of all time, but it's probably one of, if not like the most beautiful movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm sure I'm not the first person to say that. And I never even like really heard of the movie. I've heard of Jet Li. I'm very unfamiliar with Chinese cinema in general. I don't even really remember Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, although I think I saw it. But to me,
You don't have
Ninja Sword, which was one of the few anime movies that I watched last year for your pick, Jelani. That's what it reminded me of. Was like, that's what I remember asking the same shit when we saw Ninja Swords. Like, how influential is this?
You mean Ninja Scroll?
Ninja Scroll. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. But like, how you were saying, like, this is a genre in its own, and like, is it is it the first of that? Is there other ones? You know what I mean? Like, what is the beginning of?
Definitely not the first.
No, there's definitely way more. Yeah.
Badass though. And then another thing, this is just a random thing. I was like, oh, that opening scene, and this shows you how unfamiliar with shit I am, in Shang-Chi. That fight at the beginning that they have, that's like overly gorgeous. That I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. They're aping on this or this genre or whatever. But I was blown away. I thought the movie got better and better and better as it went. And then I was blown away like pretty much first act. But I thought it was cooler and cooler. Like it really stuck the landing and super cool. One of the coolest movies I've seen in a hot minute.
Yeah, it ramps it up, man. It grabs your attention and it keeps pulling you in all the way through. What about you, Joe? What do you think about this film?
I mean, this is great. I thought it was great the first time around. It's still a great film. The director, I think Zhang Mi, what was it? Zhang Zimao, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm trying to think of exactly, but it's something like that. He is basically considered like he's one of the most significant Chinese directors, period. Like he also did, House of Flying Daggers, but he did The Great Wall. He was involved. Yeah, he was involved in the Olympics. I had the privilege last year of seeing his film Zhu Dao on the big screen, which was his 1990 film. It was only his third feature, which I believe he co-directed. But it was the first Chinese film to get a Best Foreign Film Academy Award nomination, which really helped to make him a big figure in film in China. If you haven't seen that film, it is excellent. It's not a samurai film. It's not a wuxia at all. It is a more intimate, like erotic kind of romance movie. It was briefly banned in China.
Are some of his other films like this, Joe? Like are this genre, this wuxia?
House of Flying Daggers.
Got like
Okay.
He's got like House of Flying Daggers, Curse the Golden Flower, The Wall, starring Matt Damon. It's like some Tom Cruise The Last Samurai type of stuff. He's did one in like about a decade ago called The Shadow, which is it was him returning back to the wuxia. But he does I think it's like a Riding Alone for like 1,000 Miles or something like that as a drama film that came out like 2005. He's diverse,
Oh, definitely.
He doesn't just do these pieces.
If you want to see a very different kind of movie, he did that also uses color for themes and things like that. Zhu Dao, I highly recommend that film. It's excellent. And also the wuxia, the genre goes all the way back to the Chinese silent era. These films have been ingrained in China and their film history from the beginning. One of the best examples of that from the silent era, most Chinese silent films did not survive. I think like 90% or something like that are just lost to history. But check out, if you ever get the chance, I think you could get it free on YouTube, Red Heroine, which is a silent film with this sort of, so obviously the special effects are different in the silent era, but it's the same like high fantasy samurai kind of film about a woman who survives her village getting raided and everyone gets killed. She's like basically like the sole survivor, and she goes on like a revenge killing spree. And it's, this is, so good. I also had the chance of seeing that with a live band and all of that. It was a really great time, and it was nice seeing a Chinese film before they went woke with all these female heroines back in the 1920s.
That's why they went broke.
Heck yeah. All right. This movie, I think it's got some really great performances. It definitely has some memorable and standout characters. Link, you picked the movie. You get to go first. What's a performance you want to highlight?
I'll say I'll let someone else have Jet Li, but I liked the actor who played Broken Sword. I felt like he had the more nuanced role out of everybody. Like he had the more range of emotions he had to go through. And he's just a badass character. Ultimately, he had the knowledge is like, just you can fuck someone up, but the ultimate goal, just because you can, is you shouldn't. Just that's so I thought that was just a dope philosophy. And the act, I think the actor's been in something else, but I can't. It's not coming to mind. But yeah, great role. Favorite character.
Yeah, Tony Leung, I believe is his name.
Yes.
really, really good in the movie. In fact, most of the people in this film, what's interesting is that they're kind of playing multiple versions of the same character, right? Like in that first scene that you see him where it's all red, like he's completely different than the blue scene. And then he's completely different when we get to the end and the reveal of the white. And then in the flashback, within a flashback, Jelani, just like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, this movie's got a flashback within a flashback.
He's Shang-Chi's dad, Lynk. That guy.
Oh, word. Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Yeah, that is him. Great performance, though, in this movie. Jelani, what about you? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I will still say Ang Lee's a hack. Let's see. My favorite character in this movie is Zhang Ji as Moon, because she can always get it. Zhang Ji as Moon in this film is fantastic. Her range of emotions through each of the stories is like it's insane. And her fight
character changes the most depending on who's talking about her. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She is the one that changes the most. And it's wild to me that she got such a complex role, because I think she had the most complex role in the film to be so many different things to so many different people. And she's the main, kind of like the student to Broken Sword. And she's trying to be loyal to him in a lot of different ways. In the Red story, she's the accidental lover. In the Blue story, she's trying to like weigh out the options with her master getting hurt. In the White story, she's just, which I think the White story is the truth. That's what I love to see it as. And she's the one that urges Jet Li to follow the Broken Sword's words, and to, he's never wrong. And the words that he put out there are something that you need to heed. And he takes that advice. And it's such a good, I don't know, she's like a turn. She's helping with that turning point. And I really enjoy that with this film. And she's my favorite character in it. And she's always been my favorite character in this movie, just because she's freaking gorgeous. Oh, I love Jay-Z. Oh, Lord have mercy. Jesus. Oh,
she took the most ass whoopings in this movie.
So is it based on her looks or her character arc?
Both.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how it works.
That's
how it works. All right, great pick though, Jelani. What about you, Brooks? Who do you want to highlight?
Well, like Falling Snow is obviously my favorite, but more specifically, Red Fallen Snow is probably the one I like the most. Like, I think she was the hottest. She just had the hair down. She has the red lipstick. Yeah. Like, I think Bad Girl.
You know who she reminded me of, Brooks? You'll get this reference. The Waka's chick from Final Fantasy X with the she was kind of like, she was in Final Fantasy X too. Lulu, yes.
Yeah, Lulu. That is Lulu.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, like she's gorgeous, and like she's got the skills, man. I love how she just puts Moon in her place, like it's nothing, man. Like it's kind of like amongst these three guys, like they're all so badass. It's kind of hard to gauge like which one is the most badass. I would probably say Broken Sword, but she's a close. Her and Sky are pretty close, I think, as far as skill goes.
Yeah.
With Sky, he's got the spear, so it's kind of like a different thing too. So.
Yeah, great pick, man. Snow's awesome, man. Maggie Chung playing her.
Yeah.
What about you, Verno? What's a performance you want to highlight?
You guys have had such great answers. I wish I had something deeper, but I am going to highlight the calligraphy teacher, like the elder guy. I just love him, dude. He's got a great look. I love when the scene of him just sitting there with the arrows. I wonder how that was done. Was that done in like 2 shots that they put together? You know what I mean? Where they're firing arrows when
there's a lot of CG in this movie too. Honestly,
so cool.
Yeah.
He's badass. Yeah. I love that part. Love that part. The whole section of the movie with the arrows That's where I
that's the
think
best
that's the
set
first
piece.
like big
Yeah.
set piece that you get, and I was like, oh okay,
Yeah.
oh okay, shit, I'll make 2 bowls of popcorn.
You got them fucking flinging arrows outside and shit. Then the broken swords like fucking doing calligraphy. An arrow breaks it. He catches another arrow and starts
So-
just it's
That's
it's
so
a lot of shit
badass,
going
So
on.
dude.
gangster, dude. It's so
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, it's
So
great.
badass. You got all them people just dropping dead while they're doing their work. I
They're
watched
still
this time. I
doing
noticed
yeah.
someone got shot right in the
In the
fucking
head.
head, dude. Right, right in the
Yeah.
fucking head. I was like, damn, man.
For our
All
craft, I'd be like, bye, bruh.
Double tap.
I'm not taking no arrows. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
I'll do
Great
my
pick,
calligraphy
Verno.
under this desk. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
one. What about you, Joe? What's the performance to highlight? There's still a few left.
No, there are. And actually, the person I was going to mention wasn't even brought up yet. I'm going with the King/Emperor. He like the movie relies on the tension between him and Jet Li. Those sort of like interstitial scenes throughout. Like if he doesn't hit it just right with Jet Li, the movie kind of falls apart. Like, but he's really I think he's great in the role. He's icy. He's like he really balances throughout because the tone shifts throughout the movie of like at first, he is a bit arrogant, but
You feel the weight of his burden by the end because of his the betrayal of like he's got to be the bad guy in someone else's story in order to unify. So I agree with that. That's a great pick.
No, you're good. The leading up to that, like kind of what you're saying, the ending works because they're chanting to execute him, and he is holding back on giving the order for as long as he can because he doesn't want to do it, and he really sells
I
that.
start to tear up.
Yeah, like it sells the ending. If he just like went for it, the ending doesn't mean anything. Like he really, him and Jet Li together sell that ending. So
yeah, I agree. He was actually going to be the one I would pick if it got around to me, and it's because of that ending, man. Like when he hears what Broken Sword did and what he said, and you see it on his face before you see the tear. And the tear is very subtle, actually, or at least it is in DVD on the 4K screen. But and then when, like you were saying, when he's withholding giving the order, but then once he gives the order, just his face and holding on his face, watching it happen, like, dude, it's heartbreaking, and it makes that end work. And he works very well with Jet Li, plays a very stoic character, but he also has to play that dance with a king, right? So I guess that leaves me with Donnie Yen as Sky. Donnie Yen's in a movie. Are we not going to mention him and say,
Oh, he got
that's
stuck with Donnie Yen.
It was brief, but it was worth it,
yeah, that's
I
one of
do
the
wish he
best
was
fights in the whole
more.
movie.
It's so brief, man. I remember a couple years ago when we did Ip Man in Action Fest. We all love that movie. I mean, Donnie Yen is the shit, dude. Even when he's in a crappy movie like Rogue One, he's good in it. So there you go. All right.
I mean, to your credit, he's the only one that was like fucking bending swords and shit. He was hitting the fucking swords so hard that they were bending, man. Like he's a powerhouse.
I just love that whole.
They were like,
where they're
"No, we
they're
gonna
basically
fight
like
no more.
thinking about their
We're
fight
good."
first. They're like visualizing their fight and all that
The
kind of stuff
strategy.
first.
Yeah.
Love it, dude. Love it. He's really good, man. All right, so let's move on to the technical aspects of the film, the way it looks, the way it sounds. Let's talk about the story structure. How about let's talk about sound and vision? I don't like the way that goes, man. Let's talk about style, structure, and sound, y'all. What about you?
That's too long, dude. Too long. What's up, style, structure, and sound? Okay, buddy. Sorry, David Bowie
Triple
came up with a
stylish.
bad title. Fuck out of here.
I like it.
Good enough for David Bowie, not good enough for Robbie.
Oh, when it's my
Disney
idea
World just
next
came
week,
out
I'll
in
like
June.
it better. Link, go ahead. What were you thinking?
Sound, style, structure, all fucking on point. Structure, yeah, I think it's minimalist but epic grand at the same time. The scope of it, the structure is cool. How it's playing on perspective and narratives, and even the sound. It's very minimal, but I think it works and it emphasizes the artistry or the some of the lack of sound kind of emphasizes the characters' focus. I feel like there isn't, it's not some grand fucking people don't fight like that in real life, and there's not. I mean, there's some certain sound effects in this movie, but I think it's trying to pull focus on like the characters in a weird way. But I think it's all on point. There's not really a bad thing I can say about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, like with the sound design, like you're saying, it does pull back a little bit from like what you would typically get like in an action movie in America. For instance, American action movie would just be like and all this kind of stuff. And we've also seen kung fu movies that do the exact same kind of thing, especially in their English dub, right? This one though, there's so much focus on things like from like elemental, like the sound of the water, right?
The splash,
the lightness of their feet on the water, right? Their weapons, the weapon sound. Like I feel like the sound design is very much like 36 Chamber, which is like one of my favorite Hong Kong films, man. I love that one. And the sound of the weapons in that, so staccato, so amazing. The sound design in this movie carries it so much so, including that music. That score is beautiful. It won Hong Kong Film Award for Best Score, also Best Cinematography, because the movie looks absolutely freaking gorgeous. Jelani, what do you got to add in sound and vision?
That's too bold.
I like it a little bit better with the echo, Joe, I think. How's that going?
Nice. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, it makes the waves better. It doesn't. But man, the movie sounds great. It's very the music is very somber and maudlin. It's like it's good as I love that sound and the way it feels when they're like emoting. Their faces are emoting, especially when Jet Li emotes, which is a rare occasion. It really tells a really good story. It looks good. It's one of the best looking films, along with one of the best sounding films. Like I said, each color tells a story. The costumes in this film, bruh, everybody down to the freaking soldiers. The time it must have taken. It reminds me of the Lord of the Rings and the orcs, and how they have each different part of their of his army set up, and how the archers are the freaking archers, bro. If there was another character I would have picked, it would have been the archers in this film. The ones that just weren't run in, sit their butts down.
That's so funny. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's the best part, dude. That's got to be the worst position you could have in the military.
I was thinking that too. I was like, bro, what if someone fucking misfires or some shit, and like it doesn't go as far as I don't know. I was like, being in the front on the ground just seems like you're gonna get lost at some point.
It don't matter. It don't matter. There's enough, man. That's how dead they were gonna be. It was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have it down to a science. I'm pretty sure it was and it looked like they did because they were like so choreographed.
True.
And it was so. I'm sorry, that whole scene with the arrows. That's probably my best scene. My most favorite scene in the whole movie. That whole sequence is beautifully shot. I love how what's the lady's name?
Flying Snow.
Falling Sword. Flying Snow.
Flying Snow.
Yeah, Flying Snow.
Broken Snow. Dipping Dots. Jacking off.
I love Dipping Dots.
She's fantastic. And stopping the arrows. That whole scene is absolutely gorgeous. I know we've mentioned it, but god dang it. It's freaking awesome. I love the water fight.
What about the leaves falling, bro? The
I love the leaves
in the
falling.
transition.
I love when he's fighting Moon. When she's fighting Moon. I love the water with Sky. Of course, all of this should have been 3D. I should have watched this in 3D. That's how cinematically gorgeous this movie was, and it's each scene is just on point.
Yeah,
and the structure of the movie is told in such a way that Ang Lee wishes he could. And so it's absolutely gorgeous and smacks the shit out of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because I don't mind a flashback within the flashback in this movie, because that one was a piece of shit.
Yeah, I love what you say about the structure, because it is the way the story is told that brings you in, like the opening fable, right? The red part, right? So it's quicker than the blue part, and then the blue part's probably some of the more elongated parts. The green flashbacks really quick, and then the white kind of is the finale. And then don't forget about all the black that surrounds it too. And that's the other thing that's beautiful about the cinematography and the set design and the costuming and the art direction is the way the colors tell the story. Like the first story is about fire and passion and blood,
and passion,
right? And lust and all that kind of stuff. And the second one is about calm and tranquility, but also a melancholical sense. Right,
kind of cold.
The green of the flashbacks, right? I don't know what that represents, but it probably represents. I don't know.
That one to me was like kind of like earthy, like there's a lot of nostalgia going on in that scene. Like, Broken Sword fucking talking about how Snow was going to take him to the village and teach him how to do whatever, and then the king was reminiscing on how when Broken Sword had the opportunity to kill him, but he didn't, and it was that's So I guess reminiscing. I guess
I like that, like earthy, because it's like him telling the story, right? And it like I don't know, something about that. I got to look into the green, but then then it switches to white when we're starting to get more towards the truth, and then moving away from the stark black of the army, right? And in those scenes, like when he's fighting Donnie Yen and everybody's watching, it's all like black and white. They even have black and white. I love it's so freaking awesome. It's so simple, but so clever and so perfectly utilized. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the way this movie is put together?
Well, I love this movie, and I loved this period where they were just like starting to do these kind of movies, and they were doing like the Dragon Ball Z shit, like but for movies, like people floating around, like all this kind of crazy shit. And it looks pretty good in this one, like it kind of, because this movie feels kind of like a fairy tale, like so you're kind of primed to expect this kind of like supernatural kind of stuff, like motherfuckers like floating on thin air and like being able to pull off these crazy moves and stuff.
Pogo sticking out,
walking on water droplets and shit, bro.
Yeah, it's like
ever since I saw that pond scene, I've always wanted to be able to do that, bro. Like, if I could just for one time do it.
You just gotta keep trying, bro. You can do it.
If I could just be quick enough, man. Like I used to think I could run up a wall. Like that's got to be easy. If you just you can do that, right?
And it turns out, yes, you can do it, but you gotta really know what you're doing. And
Especially also you got to really know what you're doing if you're trying to stab somebody and then like miss all their vital organs so that they're perfectly fine, but they're going to wind up killing themselves anyway. Don't worry about it, man. It's all miscommunication. Romeo and Juliet shit going on in there, man. Right, dude. But the choreography, man, absolutely fantastic. So beautiful. It's ballet, it's dance. It's like so well put together. It's so not realistic, but it doesn't have to be, right? And this style, this wire fu, this stuff is what was definitely a direct influence among many influences on the Wachowskis when they were working on The Matrix, right? So there you go. Verno, what about you? What did you think about the technical aspects of this film?
Yeah, it's brilliant on all counts. I'm glad that you combined the music, because I remember I watched it twice and I was still afterwards like, oh yeah, shit. Like there's so much like of a feast going on for your eyes and everything that it's like the music was great, but I don't really have any great thoughts to say about it, other than the old man that sits down and plays for him, his little lap guitar that he plays. I love that. Hey, actually, before you go, can you give us one more? That was badass. I love that. The structure, it reminded me, and we've all touched on it, but like it feels like an anthology film where the wraparound story is the Emperor and Jet Li, and then they're the same story, but it feels like you're starting over each time with the new story, kind of like an anthology film. The style, one little bit that we we haven't mentioned yet when he's fighting Sky, Brooks, you mentioned when he's like doing that bit with the water, but right after that, when there's these drops coming down and Jet Li like goes through them across the screen like that. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's just one of the coolest visual moments ever.
So
cool.
quick. It's not even. It's cutting through the
I love the moments where it's like you can't tell.
Quicksilver.
Is the background what's moving, or is the actor what's moving? Are they wheeling this person through a scene, or are they running background behind them? You know what I mean? It feels like an anime type of thing. The other thing, the sex scene. I was really curious if it was gonna when they're making love in the red scene. Oh, which by the way, I don't want to forget to say this. We keep talking about like, oh, there's the red bit, there's the white bit, the blue, the gray. Like the thing that they do that's weird about it, it's all low contrast. It's everyone's wearing red, but there's no like light background to make them pop on it or whatever. It's red on red, blue on blue with light blue, gray on black. Like it's so cool in that way. Even the Emperor's area is all like that, like gray on black. But anyway, with the sex scene, I was like, where are they gonna go with this? He rips her dress? I'm like, I don't know Chinese cinema. What am I about to see? How crazy is this gonna get? And then like they go to that scene and it's just them under the sheet completely. And then I don't know if you guys all saw this movie a long time ago. So my first experience watching it, right after that, it shows a scene and it's the guy on top of the girl with his little saggy nipple out. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, never mind. I'm like, oh, he got me like both times. I watched no way. That's not a nipple. That's that dude. Never mind.
It's tasteful.
Down boy.
It's tasteful.
Down boy.
It's PG-13.
The lake bit.
Was it? Wait.
Where they're having the lake, when the one drop goes and flies over flying moon, flying snow, whatever we want to call her. It's just like so overly dramatic. And my wife happened to come in at that point while I'm watching the movie, and she doesn't say anything. She just sits down and she's watching it, and I'm just like, how fucking badass is this? And she's like, I just kind of want to laugh at it. I'm like, okay, I kind of get that too. Like that's what it does. It's so weird, and it is like so like kind of corny, but it feels like it's not taking itself super, super seriously. I don't know. Maybe it is, but I feel like it knows how absurd it is.
It's not. It's the antithesis to something like The Matrix. It's The Matrix without the edginess to it. The grittiness to it, because they're doing the same stuff. Like in The Matrix, the wire fu's very prevalent. It's just in a different context.
Yeah, but I mean, I get what you're saying, 100%, because there is elements of it that's cheesy, right?
Right.
But
Goofy,
but also beautiful,
totally,
right? And like that's it's like watching a performance on a stage or something, right? And I don't know, I love it. I just love that bit. They're walking on the water and like
I love it so much.
And just the back and forth and when they fall down with the sword goes in and then they pop back up. It's just like.
Because even
this is like the kind of shit
it's cheesy
you would see while you're doing shrooms or something, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
But in that scene in particular where the water drop on the face, like it's cheesy, but in the right context, you totally get it. Like Jet Li totally was like, "Yo, bro, this dude's grieving. That's why he doesn't even want to. His mind's not in the battle. That's why he walked away."
If she'd watched the movie leading up to that point, she might still think it's a little corny, but she would like it a lot more. Last thing I'll say about it.
Understanding
it. My notes, the first thing I said, as far as the style goes, the only thing I had written for a long time was "fuck yes." Like that's what I have to say about it. Fuck yes, so good.
Hell yeah! What about you, Joe? Man, wrap this up.
Yeah, no, there's not too much to add. It's one of the things with the sound design. Oh my god, with the fucking arrows. It sounds so good. Every bit with the arrows coming down, and that's one of my favorite, like just little slivers from the movie is when the arrows are like really raining down on the calligraphy school, and the people are just there's the select few within who are just like ignoring it and like powering through, and that looked really good. I think it worked really well. It's a standout from the movie. But yeah, the CGI use works really well. I guess the water bit with Donnie Yang, you could kind of be like, it's a little like you could update that now if you did like a 4K re-release or something and make it like little more polished. There's like a few moments like that, but like otherwise, I think it really.
Even some of the arrow scene, I still love it, but it could, you know, it wouldn't hurt from like a little touch up, you know, today.
Yeah.
This movie is like 20 plus years old, so yeah.
Yeah, it's almost it's going to be its 25th anniversary next year. Like it's
someone called George Lucas to get his ass on this, man. All of a sudden, we're gonna have little Jabbas out there running around.
Banthas everywhere. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the CG doesn't look too bad when you watch it on a DVD on a 4K screen. You're just like, wow.
I bet.
The thing that was really shitty though was the captions. The captions were like, you could see the pixels, and I was just like, this is bothering me. And they were yellow. They were yellow. Do you remember they used to do yellow captions, man? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I tried to change that. It was bugging me at first. I grew used to it, but
heck yeah. All right, let's talk about the themes of this movie because it's got a myriad of them. Steph, what are you digging and unpacking out of this film?
Yeah, there's so many things, but one to me, the truth is a ladder or a bridge, you know, like this movie conveyed in so many ways, like there's their side, the other side, and the truth somewhere in between. And even when Jet Li's like explaining to the king, like had the king not met Broken Sword for himself, he would have just believed what Jet Li was saying, and the movie would have went a completely different way. But because he had, you know, there's this, so it's like there's, I don't know. Yeah, the truth is a ladder or a bridge. Then the shit gets. I don't know. There's a lot going on in this movie. I'll go with that though for now. Yeah,
no, I love that truth and perspective, and how perspective can twist the truth. Like a certain object will cast different shadows depending on your perspective. Right? Ooh. They're all equally true, but the truth is the object itself. Like that. Right? That kind of thing. Also, just looking up what? No, it's just a concept, right? That you never heard of that, where you got like a,
no, I like
a cylinder, but on one side it would look like a square, and then another one it would look like the shadow would look like a circle.
Like Plato's cave.
We're just thinking about some of the Grant Morrison stuff about talking about like a hand coming from a higher dimension would look like 3 giant holes popping in at first, growing larger and larger, and just all kinds of things like that, right? You know, it's true in space, but it's also true in reality with like social like connections and relationship dynamics and stuff. I just looked up the green thing. It says used for the flashbacks and the memories representing vitality, nature, and the romantic harmony of the past. That's what it says. So Earth, heart,
wind.
Jelani, what about you? What's this movie speaking to you?
Power is yours.
Revenge isn't always a dish best served cold. Jet Li's entire family was murdered, and he was left as an orphan to become nameless. And he spent his 10 years of his life honing a craft of assassinship to murder a king. And then he is influenced, the emperor, and he's influenced by another assassin who had the opportunity to kill this man and chose not to because he knew that this man would be a unifying force. He ended his hate. He ended his revenge tour. He wanted to win, and he decided in winning he would have to lose and give up something that he had worked so hard to achieve. And that was the murder of the emperor. It is the truth. It is what it is, as we've been saying since 2020 so frequently. It is something that we have to learn, that we have to let revenge go. And I've had a revenge tour for a while, and you have to learn how to let shit go and be content knowing that win or lose, that sometimes it's the best path. Because if you don't let go of your past, it will somehow mess up your present and definitely destroy your future.
Yeah, dude, I like that. Very personal story there.
One quick thing.
Your own truth, right?
Sorry, Jelani, you just reminded me of it. Like the endurance, bro. Like that's a big theme of this movie. Like Jet Li in particular, he had to endure like he didn't succeed in his mission, didn't avenge his family, and was going to be known as like he was going to be known as an assassin. That he was going to be known as not a hero to the masses because of like the public truth. So that he'd endure with the fact that he was doing the right thing, even though he wasn't going to be viewed as, even though he was a hero, he wasn't. So there's a lot of shit going on in this movie for being so. It's a simple story, but so deep.
Absolutely. Speaking of simple yet still deep, Brooks, what about you? What's this movie saying to you?
Well, I think like a thing in this movie is kind of an overlying thing is like it's kind of like the value we have in life, like, and one thing I really love about this movie is just the way the characters act, like the mannerisms. Like, you start this movie out and you got this badass assassin Sky, and he's just playing in a game parlor. And then some cops come to get him. He just beats him up without even taking the thing off of his spear. It's like, this is kind of like, politeness, I guess, even in the face of death. And like, the fact that the Emperor, he's like, when he learns it, or when he surmises that Nameless is an assassin, he doesn't freak out. He just like, kind of, he comes to accept it. But when he learns about Broken Sword's story, and like, the words in the dub, the words he tells him is our land. It's like this idea of like, a unified land where nobody has to go to war anymore. But I think in the subtitle version, it was like all under heaven was what the character meant. But like
on my subs, it said our land.
It
last
did?
night. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
2 words.
In the older subtitle that I remember watching. But it's like, this idea of like, like an individual is like, can be important and can be like, have a lot of value. But at the same time, like, there's a big value on like, the greater good. Like, this guy, he's going to cause a lot of deaths. That's what, that's what he says at the end is like, I've caught like, but in the same sense, you could say like, either way, it would have been a lot of deaths. So it's like, you just got to choose like, the version you think is best for the world. And, I think that's why the Emperor was so like, hesitant, like, and I love that scene at the end because it shows that, despite being the Emperor and how powerful he is, he still has to bend to the will of the people as well. Like when his people chant like no mercy, no, don't show mercy.
Caught in that
like,
machine.
Yeah, it's like he finally comes up against something that he can't like, he just can't just power through. Like,
yeah,
ruling has its price.
The needs of the many.
And in order to see, he had to be the bad guy.
An old Spot quote. And the thing he says at the end too is that the greatest feat of strength a warrior can do is to lay down a sword.
Yep.
I thought that was like
right.
That was a
just because
cool
you can fuck someone up doesn't mean you should fuck them up.
Exactly.
Right.
Nicely put, Brooks. By the way, name changes, Mrs. the Wizard Beard. I think maybe once it starts getting colder, you might see it return. Who knows? You never know. All right, Verna, what about you, man? This movie's got a lot of themes. You said it has a lot to unpack.
A lot.
What do you unpack it?
Well, honestly, it's so deep. I wish I had like taken notes on what I was basically. I watched the movie, then I'm sitting there working on Jason Mask earlier for like a couple hours, just thinking about it. I wish I'd been writing down the shit that I was thinking, honestly. But what it leaves me like thinking about at the end, whether or not this is the theme or not, is like, was he right or wrong? It's that idea of like basically him not killing the Emperor led to a unified China. Is that good? It wiped out all these other cultures. It's like it's almost like saying like, yes, we should have let Hitler go ahead. There's warring factions in Europe, but if Hitler has all this power and he's able to unify them all and exert his control over them, then we'll stop warring. If you do that, you give so much power to the government that it's basically, this is what I was talking to Grok about. I asked Grok if it was crazy to think that basically like the reason why we have this, it's not just a perception, like the reality of China, where they have less freedom and the government is more focused on, today I'm talking about, it's more focused on the greater good. There's less personal freedoms, and let's just toe the line. You do kind of what the government says, and the government is in control. Historically, from what I understand, it stems from this. That's why China is like that today, is from the events that they're portraying in this movie. You have a unified China, but there's so much control that you lost all these personal freedoms. I don't know if that's what they're trying to say necessarily, because the Chinese government wouldn't be thrilled with
I was about to
and
say like that.
Right.
I kind of got hit that same way at the end. I get hit that same way at the end, but yeah, definitely not what they were intending, I guess, or
Right.
at least what they didn't want the government,
It's less
they're really
theme than
strict
subtext.
on shit over there about like what
Right.
the movie.
The way
This is why.
I look at it, like, is Jet Li was, unfortunately, Jet Li's family got, I don't know what his family, maybe they were like in the warring factions that got them killed, but like it wasn't for malicious intent, like it wasn't personal. Ultimately he had a better goal in mind, the king, or the, I guess, emperor.
So did Hitler,
and
though. So did Hitler. It's the exact same
Hitler's
thing.
was a
I
little
don't
bit
think
more.
they're saying Hitler enough on
Emperor
this
wasn't trying to wipe out the emperor wasn't trying to wipe out a race of people, bro.
He did, dude. He did. This is what he did afterwards. They built the wall. He unified everything. They were making everybody speak one language. They were burning books like a motherfucker and killing cultures. And it's like, okay, so this is the only thing I have written in my notes for theme.
There could be a little propaganda going on in this film then.
They kind of address that a little bit when he's talking about how the character has so many variations. He's like, oh, when I'm emperor, we'll just have like, one variation. Like,
right.
The way he has, the contempt he has for certain aspects of other people's culture does kind of like.
What if an alien race showed up and took over our whole planet because they have a better idea and they do things a different way? That the only thing I have written in my notes is extrapolation. And what if an alien race took over? Go across the whole world. You have a global government. Let's just do the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, let's just have one culture. That's what, like, they probably robbed the world of all these different subsets of these Chinese cultures or whatever, but it's not necessarily a good thing that he let him live. We don't know.
Well, and that's the nuance about the ultimate theme of like truth and perspective, right? Like, what is the ultimate truth other than a collection of perspectives that are agreed upon, right? If that makes sense, right?
For sure.
Like, some people would look at that and be like, this was a good thing for China. This was a good thing for the world. Some would say, I would argue not, but we don't really know how it would have gone the other way. We don't really know, right? I don't know. This is pretty deep, man. I like that, Verno. That's good, man. That's good.
Buddy.
What about you, Joe? What's this movie saying to you?
Well, there's a few things. I'll elaborate a bit on some of what Verno was saying. Like I think part of what's like this movie didn't do as well as I think they had hoped in its theatrical release. And in part, it was because of negative reaction to the ending. Like, people initially didn't love the ending of this movie. Like, people came around to it, but because it's so different from what you expect from a Hollywood movie ending. And I think it's important to watch or like consume media and understand like other cultures and other morals that aren't necessarily your own. I think it's important to understand people. Like, you can, that's not to say you have to immediately change your core beliefs every time you watch a fucking movie, but it's just like, like it's good to understand, oh, I get why there's an appeal to this thought, whether or not I would ever adopt that or not. It just helps you just understand, the world. One of my favorite things too in the movie, in terms of the ending, they symbolize how he died a traitor, but he was really a hero by draping him in red, which was the color of deceit, for his funeral. So it was the lie. He was a hero, and the world is deceived from the red over him, which I thought was a really nice touch. Just an excellent, sort of moment in the film. But yeah, I think most of the core stuff's already been covered. The Rashomon kind of stuff, like it's a movie about it's a little less like Rashomon. Like this movie is not really about. It's not about what the truth is from different points of views in the same way. Like it has that structure, but it's really, it's more about, the unraveling of the truth over time.
Yeah.
So hold on, real quick. Are you saying he because this is blowing my mind. I've never looked at it that way. You saying Jet Li, he died as a hero in the movie? Like the popular masses knew him as a hero, but he was
they thought of him as a traitor, but
right, but he
red
died.
shows that was a lie. He's really a hero. That's why he's in the red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the Dark Knight. He has to be the villain.
Yeah.
He has to be the villain that we need.
Let
me
reply to Dino. I was trying to type to you, Dynamite, but I'm a shitty typer, and I'm sitting here doing this. I think don't get wrong, it's not a perfect analogy to your comment about Hitler is not a great analogy. First of all, if the way I understood it, what he says, the line he says is, once I conquer all of this, I'm not going to keep going. Once I unify China, he said, I'm going to take this empire to all the different corners of the land till we have a vast empire. The other thing is he started out as the ruler of just one of these states or whatever they were called in the area. So he was just one guy that was conquering the other areas on his continent, just like Hitler was. He's a conqueror.
But this is after like fucking years of just these different factions and countries warring against each other over stupid petty shit that he just
for sure.
Yo, we can
but was it wrong of Dr. Doom to save all of reality by creating Battle World?
No, exactly.
Exactly what I was
I love that analogy.
I love what everybody said, all of that stuff. I just want to kind of elaborate a little bit on a theme of sacrifice, right? That's a big idea in this movie. Obviously, the sacrifice at the end, giving his life, but also giving up his ambition, his goal, his desire for revenge, for vengeance, right? For retribution. He had to give up his whole purpose for the greater good. And that's interesting, but also and you see this throughout the movie because it's not just about him and sacrifice. That's with everybody. The king has his own sacrifice, right? We can look at him however we want, but the king has his own sacrifice that he's dealing with.
That's why he was he was lonely, bro. He's surrounded by a fucking palace of fucking thousands of guards by himself.
Broken Sword sacrifices his feelings and relationship and love with Snow because of his desire to do what he feels is right. Right. And he's like, I will not allow this to happen. And sometimes one of the things I love, and I think this is one of the most poignant things that I took out of the movie this time, is sometimes we also have to sacrifice. This is so hard for people to do. You have to sacrifice the need to be right. Do you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to do that. I mean, because it'd been very easy for Jet Li to just kill him because you're a bad guy.
He wasn't right.
But we must stop the fighting or lose the war. Right. That's the Dawn of the Dead quote. Right. So I'm just saying, I think there are many layers to this. We could talk about, it's true. I don't know, man, from a certain perspective, I think Dr. Doom's a pretty good guy. You know what I'm saying? Free healthcare, in Latveria, man. That's fine.
It seems like people in Latveria are pretty, content.
Kind of, for the most part. Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, honestly, I think we could all agree we would probably prefer Star Trek out of any of these fictional worlds. Star Trek seems pretty cool. Earth only really gets fucked with every so often.
Holodecks.
I'm all about the food replicator. Jelani's over here, holodeck. All right, you're what's his name? The bald man that was Bartley. Is that what his name was? Barkley?
Oh yeah, Bartley. Listen, I get my food replicator, my steak and lobster, and walk into my freaking home. That's how it's supposed to be.
We'll never see Jelani again, bro.
All right, let's rate this movie out of 5 possible you digs. You out there in the chat, let us know what would you rate. Hero, Lynk, kick us off here on the panel.
Yeah, this is a 5, man. I couldn't be argued. It's 4, but this is a 5 for me. In terms of the impact, how simple yet layered it is, the visually arresting it is. The color combinations going in this movie is influenced me for life in terms of how I dress. So just in color coordination and stuff. So I love this movie.
Smash this motherfucker show up with some goddamn armor.
I was gonna say,
fucking
I
dress.
want you to show up
fucking
tomorrow with
light green,
chopsticks in your
dark
hair,
green.
the whole thing.
But no, yeah, it's a master class of a film. 5 for me.
Hell yeah, 5 you digs from Lynk. Of course, it's his pick. What about you, Jelani?
I love this movie. I really do. I saw it twice in the theater. I don't know if I told y'all that, but I've seen it on DVD. I've seen it multiple times since. Yeah, it's a 5 for me too. I mean, you can't really. It tells such. It's like it's in the comments. It's historical fiction. There are liberties that are taken. Of course, guys aren't floating on water, and all the craziness that's going on in this movie. But it is gorgeous. It tells a beautiful story in so many different angles of a story. It's way better than Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, by leaps and bounds, because Ang Lee's a fucking hack, and it just this is a better movie by like leaps and bounds. The arrow scene at the end alone can sell it.
That outline, I always loved that. Yeah,
it's so sad because when I first saw the movie at the theater, I was like, no, they didn't kill him. No, he escaped. Or no, he like dodged it.
I thought he escaped at first too.
I'm like, no. I kind of guessed it this time. I was like, yeah, it's over. It's a wrap. So it's such a great film, and I encourage a lot of people to get into into Hong Kong cinema to watch this stuff. I got into the hype of it after a lot of different films that did not include Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and I want you guys to like totally watch all of them except for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The end. Thank you.
All right, I do like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I do agree with you though, Jelani, that I think this film is the better film, but I also disagree that Ang Lee is a hack. We discussed that last week. This is
Gemini Man.
What the?
Did you see that
movie,
trash?
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Oh,
Life of Pi.
also trash.
I like Hulk. I like Hulk, bro. I like Hulk.
I think Hulk is. This is what started this shit last week. We started talking about Hulk, man. Listen. Brooks, out of 5 you digs, what would you rate Hero?
I got daddy issues. Look at my dogs. I gotta fight. Ooh, fuck that movie. Fuck Ang Lee.
The early odds, bro. It was
we are
wild.
definitely doing Hulk. Brooks, what would you rate this film?
Hack.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm done. Hack.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, like I know I can be sometimes overly positive about a lot of movies, but it's just because like as an artist, like I appreciate the miracle that a film is. A film is like so many artistic visions coming together to create like a single piece, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Like and when someone can make something like a piece of art that in that manner that's so moving as this movie, like I got to give credit for that. When I first started watching it, I hadn't watched it in many years now. Like I remembered liking it, and I was like, I probably wouldn't like it as much as then. But to be honest, I probably like it more now. Like I would have said probably back when it came out, I probably said that Crouching Tiger was better. But I don't know. I haven't watched Crouching Tiger in a while, but I think this one might be a little bit better. Like it is. I just love the whole message of it. And it's like like every place in the world has its own kind of culture, but the more different a culture is, like if you really comes down to it, they all have a lot of the same values. A lot of the differences between our cultures as human beings are very minor, and just because they're so different from what we're used to, we kind of place this too much value on them. But when it comes down to it, a lot of us have the same kind of values of what it is to be honorable, what it is to to serve your country or serve your family. And, I think that's one of the great things about this movie is it shows that, even in China, that they hold those same values too. Maybe we're not so different after all.
Heck yeah. So you said
by the
5,
way,
right?
if you want a better version
I give a 5. Perfect score for me.
Better version of Crouching Tiger is House of Flying Daggers.
House of Flying Daggers is good. I don't know if it's as good as Crouching Tiger in this movie, though.
Oh, it's better, bro. Go revisit it. That fucking scene where they're fighting and the fucking snow starts falling and shit. Man, we could go into a 20-minute tangent on that. Rewatch it with a different eye.
I might actually own it. This is the only one out of Crouching Tiger, House of Flying Daggers, and Hero is the only one I don't own, unfortunately.
Well, you'll get this ratty ass DVD when I upgrade. So this last tangent, everybody, has been brought to you by the Double Dragon Bros.
Double Dragons. Yes.
You don't need wire work.
Look at that magnificence.
Verno, what about you? What do you rate this film, especially after your first time watch? I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Easy 5, man. I loved it. Like I said, one of the coolest movies I've seen in a long time. I think we've covered most of the things that are badass about it. It's a badass and beautiful movie, and I think I've said my piece, man. I got nothing left on it. It's sick, man. I'm really glad I watched it.
Hell yeah! Perfect scores across the board so far. Joe, are you going to keep it going or no?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like it feels like it feels like it should be like a 4.5, but at the same time, it's like, but why wouldn't it be a 5? Like, I'm giving it a 5. I'm just saying, like, it's just like it feels like
I can understand that.
Somehow I can too. Yeah,
we're all hanging up.
It feels like I feel like a 5. Like, there's something more, but I'm also like, but no, I think it. What would you take away from it? So it's like, yeah, I guess it's a 5. Like,
yeah,
I feel
right
that
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Steph. No, man, it's your show. Go ahead.
No, I was just thank you. I don't know. I was gonna say I feel that though. Like I can see why someone, because this was like a very impactful movie when it came out, but we've seen so many different types of kung fu hit American cinema in the last 20 plus years that it's easy for this to kind of lose its luster in a sense. Its appeal. But I respect that.
Heck yeah. I'm right there with everybody. 5 you digs. I love this film. I think it's brilliant. I loved it when I first saw it. I loved it this time. I've got to upgrade to the Blu-ray, and I bet that looks even better. In fact, fuck, I should get a 4K. Guess I should get a 4K player first, but it doesn't matter. Maybe they got a 4K Blu-ray combo. I like it when they do things like that. Then I can buy it, and I have to upgrade later. And not that I'm really going to upgrade too much of my movies to 4K, because I really don't think 4K is going to make Beyond Reanimator any better. You know what I'm saying? So I think I bought Beyond Reanimator for the last time. But I love this film, and when you sent me your Crew's Choice pick, I remember going, I have no idea what that movie is. Okay. And then I remember going back into the message for some reason, and it was like message unsent Hero. And I was like, yes, locked. You're locked in, man. Hero. I was so excited to do this movie.
I'm not seeing it.
The movie I recommended, I picked first was what's this? The dude with the mustache and the Big Lebowski. What's his acting name?
Oh, it was the Sam Elliott, the man who killed Sasquatch and Hitler.
Oh.
Yes.
See, that was a movie about Hitler, Verno.
What?
That's Hitler's 7th reference on this episode.
Has anyone not said Hitler on this panel?
Yeah, let's get it out, everybody.
Oh my God! All right,
everybody in the chat, right?
Across the board, that's a PCP average of 5 digs. That means 2 of the Crew's Choice movies have gone perfect scores, man. Perfect scores. Well, I think we all gave Knight Riders a bit too high of a score, honestly, but I think it was deserved.
I respect it.
And then we got 2 5s across the board. Will that trend continue next week? I don't know. I've never seen this movie, oddly enough, but next week is Fable's pick. It's a Martin Scorsese film, The Wolf of Wall Street. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. One of the few Marty films that I have never seen. This is Fable's pick. So I'm very, very excited to dive into that. Lynk, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your pick. This has been a delightful and fun conversation. What you got going on in your life?
This Thursday over at Blood Splatter Chatter, Terrified. Have not watched it yet, saving it. But yeah, I'm hoping to be terrified. I thought this was going to be like a Terrifier theme when Verno first showed it, so I was surprised it was a film. But I'm eager to dive into it. Verno says it's fucked up, and he's putting me onto some fucked up films, so I'm eager to dive in. In a good way.
Hell yeah, love to hear it, man. What about you, Jelani? What's going on with you? Appreciate you being here, man. Great conversation.
Yeah, man, good to be here. There's a hero when you look inside your heart. You don't have to be afraid of what you are. Anyway, Rock here.
Sorry, I thought you were about to say there's a He-Man, and that's why I threw up your promo. I wasn't trying to. There's a He-Man.
Yeah, Brooks and I do this show.
He-Man's a hero.
And we did recently this He-Man and Battle Cat movie figures. I'm kind of happy and kind of disappointed with it all at the same time. I got it right here. It's pretty cool. It's all right. It's got its moments. But it's Battle Cat and He-Man from the awesome Battle Cat and He-Man movie we're going to get for Master of the Universe. Hopefully it will be good. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, even though, Joe's going to give some awful fact about the director or something and ruin the whole thing.
We don't need to bring that back up.
Jared Leto's already in it.
They are definitely not letting people know that, though. They're not really like forecasting that.
Yeah, that's not in the.
They're not like saying, "Hey, Jared Leto's in this film. He's Skeletor." And you're like, "Oh,
Skeletor." Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, what can go wrong? What can go wrong? It's gonna.
We're gonna wind up getting to the. We're gonna get to the credits in that movie, and it's gonna be like voice of Skeletor, some guy we don't know, motion capture for Skeletor, Jared Leto.
Like, no. We always want Jared Leto, but yeah,
let's do the Joker laugh again.
Well, it just
I did love his Joker laugh.
All right, everybody go check out Go Figure Reviews. Yeah, everybody go check out Go Figure Reviews. Those Motu toys are actually, they look kind of neat, man. So I'm intrigued to see what you guys think. Brooks, the other half of Go Figure Reviews, final thoughts, man. Thank you for being here.
Well, yeah, just figure I had this evening was X Factor Jean Grey. The ground and her green Jean. It's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
it was
nice.
It was easy to pick up, so that's the one I picked for this evening. But like, if there's anything this movie's taught me is that if I want to be a great swordsman who can do like crazy walking on water, all I gotta do is work on my writing skills. I'm taking up calligraphy.
There you go. Calligraphy.
I'll be like the baddest ass of all time.
Yeah.
Master.
Like, and as soon as you can do it with a fucking mop, you're fucking on, man.
Oh, I love that scene. I love that. Yeah, look, the writing looks so badass.
Hell yeah. What about you, Verno, man? Thank you so much for being here, dude. It's always a pleasure. You got a great channel over there, Blood Splatter Chatter. Tell us about it.
Yep. As Lynk alluded to, this Thursday night, Blood Splatter Chatter, every Thursday night, we get together, me, Lynk, and Big Stu for Dr. Doom's fan club. But this week, as he said, is Terrified. Damien Rugna was a director that I think in 2022 he dropped a movie that was a Shudder original. These are both Spanish language films. When Evil Lurks from 2022 made a ton of waves. It was a big deal. So that led me and a lot of other people to go back and check out Terrified, which is on Shudder. It's a very different kind of movie, but it's badass. All I'll say is we watch a lot of scary movies. It's one of the few it's got some scary fucking tuck your feet back under the covers moments in it. And it's one of the few that really has been effective for me in a long time. So check it out. It's very, very much worth it.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. Joe, thank you for being here. It's always super awesome to have you in a conversation about a film. What about you? What you got going on? Final thoughts.
All right. Well, what was it? The first thing I have coming up is I'm going to pop into Fan Expo Philly on the Saturday of the show. So hopefully I'll see some people out there for that. Then I'm also going to be at Everyone Comics, or Anyone Comics rather, for their Brooklyn Pride event on Saturday, June 6th. I'm going to be on a panel with Dan Waters, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
The guy wrote Coffin Bound?
Yeah. So that should be fun. I think Danny Lore is also on that panel. But yeah, so I have that coming up. The King Arthur, Knights of Justice, Guinevere, what was it? Almost like a compendium. They're like putting it all together in like over 500 pages from Maverick. So that'll be out with some additional content that Jordan and I wrote for that. Ruth Roche, The Fan Hand of Comics. You can start pre-ordering that today. I am doing proofreading of that tomorrow. And, we're still getting some colors in. It's really looking gorgeous. I can't wait for people to find this book and learn all about this, important woman in comics history that we don't really know much about. And then I also have Here's Moping. Last week we did a little one-paneler of the Blob watching the movie The Notebook, saying nothing moves the Blob.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's a different way of taking the term nothing moves the Blob, because it's like being emotionally moved by a movie rather than physically.
Can you explain that to me again, Joe? I didn't quite get it.
My favorite thing about Here's Moping is seeing the new strip and then having Joe over-explain it to us. That's my favorite. In fact, that should be like, there should be something. There should be a book.
There's
about
something
that.
there. There's something
we
there.
can do that, and I just got the most recent one in today, which will be posted next week. And no spoilers, but it's pretty funny.
Give us a quick rundown.
Everybody, we appreciate it. Do join us next week for Fable's Pick here on Crew's Choice with The Wolf of Wall Street, film I've never seen. So I'm very intrigued because I remember people being really hype about it when it came out. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, we're dipping out here for my final thoughts. Just station, be good for each other, be good to each other, be excellent to each other, and station, pop, pop. Sing the song, Jelani. Sing that song again. We'll go out with that song.
There's a hero when you look inside your heart.